What's cracking, everybody? And welcome once again to the episode 199 of the Good Kraken podcast. I am your host this evening, Garrick B. Eaton, aka Vermilion Beard, aka Deva's Little Cherry Blossom, and I am joined by some folks this evening, starting with our very own shrine that resides in the ocean.
Oh, what's up?
Ernell Pearson.
Hey, Shark Daddy for Prez 2023. What's happening, babies? What's going on, fellas?
How you doing, baby?
I've been waiting a fucking long time to be talking about this. My guy, it's been since January. I've just been aching to just let the weight fall off my shoulders, and tonight is finally the night that we get to do so. Unfortunately, I am at the tail end of a little bit of a cold thing I got going on here. You know what I'm saying? Got going on here. And it's not the usual.
Dude, I'm still coughing from my cold.
Ernell's got the sniffles, my tummy hurts, stuff going around.
I got some sniffy sniffs. I got a little bit of a tingly throat thing that's giving me some coffee coughs. But I got some cough drops. I got some medicine that I banged down earlier, you know what I'm saying? But you know what? I'm here. I wouldn't miss this for the fucking world, because this I am so excited to talk about this.
Tonight's gonna be a good one.
Oh, this is gonna be so much fun.
It's gonna be a great one.
Man. Garrett, what about you? How are you doing?
Good. This week's kind of gotten off to a little bit of a weird start. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, like when you ever start a week and you're like, the vibe's off. Like you wake up on that Monday and you're like, And I'm still figuring out what's wrong in my little personal universe. But other than that, so far everything's have gone pretty okay. But the vibe's still a little sussy for some reason around these parts. But we're busy, man. But other than that, I'm pretty good.
All right, I like that. I love that for you. Nice 40 degrees you're telling me about earlier on.
Oh yeah, man, it's 40 degrees out today. Like I was saying, I drove home with like the window down.
Cold, dude.
Oh, dude,
that's warm. That's warm for him.
Yeah, dude, I had my arm out the window and everything, and 40 degrees, dude. It's been 20 Garrett, below here.
Garrett comes
53 right
Jesus
now.
Christ. Garrett comes into the chat and he goes, "Man, this weather's so much nice. It's so much warmer here. Good old 40 degrees." And I was like, that's like 8 degrees above freezing, bro.
Dude, I was enthusiastic. That 40 means something to me. Like, are you kidding me? Like when it was just above freezing, I was fucking stoked. But Mr. 53 fucking degrees over here, we're also
it
joined
was
by.
Yeah.
Jesus, let me do my thing.
My fault. I didn't know you were. I didn't know you were segueing.
Hey,
I didn't know you were segueing.
That was a good segue.
It was a good segue. It was a good segue.
It was a great segue. I just missed it. It was so good. I missed it.
Shut the fuck up. Let me talk. Anyways, that kid that I still keep wondering who invited this kid, Mr. DJ Simfix. Hello.
There we go. I got you, DJ. I got you.
Jesus Christ.
What's happening, baby? How you doing?
Oh, okay. No, I had to find the key. I threw away. I'm doing okay. I started this week pretty bad. Like Sunday, dude, I woke up, dude, the existential dread was like immense.
Wait. You start your week. No.
No, I'm saying
start on a Monday.
I ended Sunday and it carried over into Monday. The existential dread carried over into Monday.
Okay,
That's how I started my week.
Sure.
I'll accept that.
Okay.
Moved into it.
But I've regained some of my mental fortitude and integrity back, so I'm okay now.
Yes, of course. As one will.
No, seriously, it sucked. I didn't even want to leave my bed. Like I stayed up like till 6 a.m. and I would sleep in and I would just not leave. Did not want to leave my bed at all.
Sometimes it be like that, man.
But I followed that up with some good news. Yesterday, I found out an old friend group of mine that I used to talk to, and I disassociated from them because of one person that I don't like personally. We have personal beef, but I didn't think it would it's not something like that would permeate through the rest of the group. I just felt uncomfortable being around the guy. Apparently, one of my old friends, like they hit me up. They're like, "Hey, if you want to come back and join us, we kicked that dummy out. He left because he left a bad taste in all of our mouths, and that felt validating because that guy is an asshole. Shout out to you if you're ever listening.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy, right?
No, fuck that guy for real. The fact that he made those people who are close to him make him seem like the asshole, it's just not cool. And we had some great news through the Crack Boys. Rest in peace, your stream career, bozo.
Yeah. We'll get into that another time. We'll get
anyone's gonna watch it.
that's okay. We'll follow through on that. That's a much deeper conversation.
But
Yeah,
we're not talking about that fucking bozo because this is the Good Kraken
That's it,
podcast.
right.
Your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you want to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 12 p.m. West Coast, Best Coast time, baby. If you're riding this wave, you can head over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive post-co content. It was so smooth. It was so
You're
smooth.
right there. You're working on it. It's okay.
No, it was
Yeah,
so
good
smooth.
job.
If you just kept going, I thought you did it on purpose. Like there's
Yeah, period. You should have just owned it. You should have just owned it.
Show content and have early access to episodes before they go live on podcast and video services across the digital sea.
Yarg.
But if you've emptied your pockets for the latest and greatest in entertainment, that is totally fine because you can watch us record this show live right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show. And
Kraken Show.
if you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime.
Prime
And tell them,
gaming.
DJ.
Prime Gaming.
Let's go.
I mean, you got that Prime Gaming, baby, and we would love for you to give that to us to help us keep pushing out content for all you listening and watching at home. But you can also support us by going over to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation point and leaving a review there.
The number one podcast in Istanbul.
DJ,
What's up, Garrick?
we have some captain's orders.
Oh, we do? Oh, shit.
Everybody should go join our Discord and let us know what sort of content they want to see from the future of GK. We are in the midst of shaping up and doing some pretty crazy and big things for you guys here in early 2023. Our timeline has been off because
OnlyFans coming
fucking
soon.
life happens.
Because my OnlyFans,
but
yeah,
we have
sucks
some
that way.
amazing things happening, and we're really excited to do that. But on top of that, we want everybody and all of you guys, new, old, everybody coming in, to tell us what sort of content you would like to see going us in Good Kraken Year 3.
Yeah, three. Tres.
Now, we are going to be heading into our first and only segment this evening. And Ernell, why don't you tell everybody what that is?
Oh, I'll fucking tell you, B. I'll tell you, you better protect your neck. Because we're moving to the gallows. I didn't make that as dramatic as I possibly could.
I
you know what I'm saying?
Did you
I don't know
poop?
if I like that.
I did poop. I pooped twice, actually. There was the first poop
the
that was
spice was-
actually more of a fart than it was a poop. But then there was the actual poop where everything came out at once. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm sick. And that's how that happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is how that goes. Yeah, I
Yes,
completely
yeah,
understand.
very much so.
But we're not talking about that because actually our main topic for this evening is we are finally getting to review season 1 of HBO Max's adaptation of
Let's
The Last of Us.
fucking go. I'm so excited about this. Garrick, tell him about it.
Woo! This one, it was a good one. We're gonna get into it. This was released January 15th of this year. It ran for 9 episodes. It was produced by Craig Mazin and Neil Druckmann, and produced at about me a budget of around $100 million. The run times for the episodes were all over the place, from anything from 43 minutes to a whole film at an hour and 21 minutes.
Goddamn, baby. Goddamn, that first
Yeah.
episode.
Love every minute of it.
That first
Every
episode.
minute. Dude.
But they
insane.
really do try to make the most of all their run times, which is why they vary so much.
Absolutely.
Because there's some interesting stories to tell. And some other interesting things we're going to be getting into are some fun facts about the production and the game about The Last of Us, Naughty Dogs, HBO, and etc. All right, so on March 6th in 2014, Sony Pictures actually announced that Screen Gems would distribute a film adaptation of The Last of Us, which was released in 2013. Written by Neil Druckmann and produced by Sam Raimi. By January 2015, Druckmann had written the script's second draft and performed a read-through with some actors. Very little work occurred following this, as Druckmann stated that in April 2016, the film had entered development hell. In November 2016, Raimi stated that the film is at a standstill after Sony had a disagreement with Druckmann. Actress Maisie Williams expressed enthusiasm about playing Ellie and was in the talks with both Druckmann and Raimi to take the role in March of 2020. Development for the adaptation was restarted as a television series by Sony Pictures Television and HBO.
Fucking thank God that did not happen.
Thank God.
Thank God. Like, listen, I love me some Sam Raimi. That is not who should have been on this. Thank fucking God.
Yeah, that wasn't the right call. I'm glad it went the direction it ended up going. And I actually think giving it a series rather than a film really allowed it to breathe. And like, even sometimes there were moments where that wasn't like quite enough, right? And we'll get into that a little bit later too.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Where we kind of wanted more. But there was like, but I'm so glad it just got out of development hell and that this ended up getting released at all. Like it's been an incredible viewing experience. It is, even if like you like, regardless of your opinions on the show, this was very much like a cultural zeitgeist sort of moment. Last of Us 3 times, man, damn, boop, 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 3 in a row. Those motherfuckers, they're just knocking it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
So like every time like they do anything, like it's become massive. But moving on with some more fun facts. 5 actors from the games, appeared in the TV series. Merle. Okay, I wanted to make sure I pronounced that right. I was like, that E at the end threw me off.
No worries.
Fucking phonetics. Merle Danbridge reprises her role from the video games as Marlene and was the first to be announced. Ashley Johnson, who plays Ellie Williams in both games, played Anna in the series. Troy Baker, who played Joel Miller in both games, played James, a secondary character that was both in the original game that is a member of the survivor group run by David. Jeffrey Pierce, who played Joel's brother Tommy, he was in as Perry, a new and original character. And Laura Bailey made a cameo in the first season finale as a Firefly nurse. Originally named Carrie, she originated in the first game prior to portrayal of Abby in sequels. Do you guys feel like they got everybody that they needed to kind of get in, like, cameo wise? And did everybody get a cameo that did them justice?
So first question, do I feel like everyone that needed to get a cameo got a cameo? Yes. I feel like all the necessary folks that are like the sort of centerpiece of The Last of Us, absolutely. Did they all get the role that they should have? I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I feel like everyone kind of got a role that was fit for them, because Troy and Merle and good old Ashley Johnson, excuse me, I had a brain fart there for a second, all fucking killed their roles. They killed their fucking roles.
I would agree.
In this show, like, even though, like, Troy, for example, who plays sort of like a secondary character, he fucking nailed that character. So like, yeah, and I mean, like, sure, I would have maybe wanted to see Troy as more of an elevated, more main focus character, but he looks like he had the fucking time of his life doing what he was doing. That, I guess, that's all that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but as like a person who hasn't played the game, I wanted to make sure, like if everybody, because like Marlene played Marlene, right?
Yes,
and correct. Which was that the only person to come back as their actual character?
Correct. Yeah,
I believe. Yeah.
That's interesting in and of itself.
Yeah.
I
mean, nobody else is going to be able to play Marlene as well as her, though. I mean, like, she
kills it.
Yeah.
She's one of those characters.
She is Marlene. Like, her character is, she is Marlene.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, 100%.
Like, through and through.
Excellent.
It's like putting Jack Black as Hancock instead of Will Smith. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Interesting comparison. John Hanna's narration in the opening mentions that fungal cures and vaccines are non-existent and that it's not even possible to actually make them. While the cure one is inaccurate, for vaccines, this is very much the case, as Professor Nir Argao, who co-edited the Oxford textbook of medical mycology, the study of fungi. He notes that this is in part due to the fact that fungi are extremely complicated in immune response. His observation that global warming can lead to the spread of deadly fungi worldwide is accurate for motherfucker who's
but
Batrachochytrium.
Batrachochytrium. There you go.
That
word.
I should have. I would have been fine if I would have pre-read, but I didn't. Fuck me.
That's okay.
Which has ravaged several amphibian species since the 70s, sometimes to extinction. Fungi do form underground networks between hosts that are used to transfer nutrients. All of that is terrifying.
Well, that's why me and Marilyn watched this show together like every single week. And I was like, when the first episode got done, I was kind of like, just let you know, like, this is a legit fucking thing. Like, this is something that, like, theoretically could fucking happen. It could happen.
Scientifically plausible.
Yes, and that's what made the game actually fucking horrifying, is the fact that, like, yeah, I mean, like, in some weird alternate universe, this could actually fucking happen, and we'd all be fucked. We'd all 100%. So don't eat cake. I guess the long story short is don't eat bread products, and you'll be fine.
Yep, no pancakes, cereal, none of that. Fuck that.
None of it.
I'm letting that thing take me out. I'm not surviving 20 years.
DJ's that dude who like sees the like how what would you do if this was happening? And DJ's like, how do y'all have the will to live, bro?
Just die.
Just die.
What do you
bro.
want me to do? That is a celestial level threat in the horizon. You want me to handle that? You want me to handle that?
Absolutely, dude. What would you do? You know what I mean? What would you do?
I guess no. I'm him. I'm him Jones. I'm him Duncan. I'm ready to go take that thing on.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Garrick, what else do we got?
Wow. A lot of potential choices for Mr. Joel's character, including Matthew McConaughey, Mahershala Ali, Hugh Jackman, Michael Fassbender, John Bernthal, Gerard Butler, Josh Brolin, John Hamm, David Harbour, Keanu Reeves, Chris Hemsworth, Harrison Ford, Tom Hardy, and Joel Egerton. None of them could have done the job that Daddy Pedro did as Joel. But damn, there were a lot of considerations for the character.
And the fun part too is they were either considered or already auditioned for the role. Each one, whether they audition or not, I have no fucking clue. DJ, what's up?
Besides, for the people on this list, who do you think would play if Pedro Pascal didn't exist?
Like, who on the list would do the next?
Who is the most qualified? I would kind of like to see a John Bernthal type of Joel.
Keanu Reeves. But I'm thinking you're my daughter.
John
Bernthal, yeah, 100%.
John Bernthal. Or I
feel like Josh Brolin might kill that low key.
I mean, Hugh Jackman did this in a movie already. It's Logan. He did this. He did this movie
I actually
already.
think David Harbour could do a good job too.
David Harbour
He's
could.
definitely got like the rugged dad sort of chop.
Absolutely.
And if you guys haven't seen Violent Night, like he's got some chop. He could do it.
Oh,
He
yeah,
can pull off
absolutely.
the violent edge. But like I don't know, like none of these actors here are bad.
They're not bad.
None of them.
none
All
of
the
them.
good choices.
Really great actors.
Like
It's
fucking-
just I don't see anyone else embodying Joel.
Fucking
like how Paige
John
did.
Hamm. John Hamm. Are you fucking kidding me? That he's a
Dude,
legend.
I think Matthew McConaughey is an interesting choice.
All right. He's just he's just in a Jaguar. Just,
He's like, tell me the truth. And then, all right.
all right. Did you actually do it? He's like, all right, okay.
I
Anyways,
swear. All
we got
right.
one more here, Garrick.
Yeah, we do. Because next we have all of the considerations for the character of Bella Ramsey, including, but not limited to, Daphne Keith, Caitlin Deaver, Maisie Williams, Thomas and Mackenzie, Eliza Scanlon, Isabella Vidovic? Yeah,
Yes.
Vidovic.
Good job,
Bailey Madison, Nico Parker, Ellie Fanning, good job, me. Julia Butters, and McKenna Grace were all considered for the role or auditioned for Ellie Williams before Bella Ramsey was cast.
Ellie Fanning is that role. I know Maisie Williams was the closest that we got outside of good old Bella Ramsey. Maisie Williams, I think, probably would have killed this role too. Because she's fucking impeccable in Game of Thrones. And like
Pretty
everything
good.
else she's done since has been
But
fucking-
a lot of people were doubting Bella Ramsey. Like they were like, "Oh, well, we don't know." Like,
Yeah, I mean, like,
don't know.
because they've only ever seen her in, like, maybe one other thing, and that was Game of Thrones as a, like, C character in the show. Like, she's in maybe 5 parts of the entire show. So, yeah, I mean, they're going to have some,
kills
like, you know, discrepancies with it and, like, feel some kind of way about it. But listen, we're going to get into it. She fucking nailed this role. So, I don't care what anybody fucking says.
yeah,
Either
Bella
way,
Ramsey, goat, the goat.
Hell yeah. Honestly, I haven't played the game, but outside of like the original actor who like, which was really funny, I gotta say, because like I said, I haven't played the game and I wasn't familiar with who Ashley Johnson was. And
Yes.
I'm sitting there and like we're watching the final episode and I go, oh damn, they did a good fucking job casting whoever the fuck they did for Ellie's mom. Like fucking Google 25 minutes, like, you know, at the end of the episode, and I was like, that makes sense.
Well, it was funny. It was funny too because her voice is Ellie as well. She's
is
not just a
Ellie.
character actor. She is Ellie.
Yeah.
So like when I heard her voice, I was like,
Like-
like how did the immediate click?
Yeah.
But then when I saw her, I was getting this weird fucking like existential moment where I was like, oh my god, like it makes sense because
She also
she's
looks like
and-
Ellie.
Yeah,
Like
she
with her hair like that,
for
she
real.
looks like Ellie from the
And
game. Yes.
it was it was a good. I was just like, yeah, great. That was a great use of her character,
100%.
like in the show. Like yes, perfect. perfect use.
Because she is the character model for Ellie in the game,
Mm-hmm.
but Troy Baker's not the character model for Joel. So like that's what's
Right.
interesting there, right? So like they couldn't just throw Joel in as Tommy, for example, especially considering that they made Joel and Tommy in the show South American of some kind, Central South American, one of the two. More specifically, probably Texan in that case, right? So Mexican American is something of the sort. So it wouldn't have made sense to have Troy play as something that was a little bit more closely related to, you know, Joel or Tommy in that sense. But having Ashley play as Ellie's mom was such a clever idea because it's listen, and that's as far as we're gonna go into fucking spoilers. But again, they fucking nailed this, man. And I'm sure now is probably a good time for us to kind of dive into here, Garrick. What do we got next?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because that wraps up all of our little fun facts about the show. Let us know in the chat if you got some other interesting one that we missed. But we're going to be diving into our individual top level thoughts on the entire season
Yes.
of The Last of Us. DJ, Start us off.
Yeah, dude, this show is incredible. This is a masterpiece. This deserves to be in a museum. Like,
No.
this is the greatest video game to TV series / movie adaptation that we will ever see in our entire lives. Quote me on that. Like, that in our entire lives, this will be the greatest video game adaptation to another medium we'll ever see. Because this is truly cinematography wise, it is breathtaking. Of course, Neil Druckmann behind the story, with Craig Mazin, who did Chernobyl and like some parody scary movies. Like they kill it. They both kill it on this, and of course the acting, the writing, like the dialogue between these characters. You know, some scenes are just one of one to the game because the those scenes in the game are that good, and the changes that they made, it's just so everything about this show is just so perfect. There's like not a single blemish or a single thing you could like really critique. Like the only thing you could really critique is if you try to like really nitpick and like really try to find something. But really, this show is a 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10. If we could give it an 11 out of 10, this trumps every other show I've watched in all my life.
God damn.
He
said
just
all
got
those, like,
DJ just bold statements out of the gate. Like
love
he's
it.
got,
I love it,
He's
dog.
got some feelings.
I love it, man.
About The Last of Us. Do you have anything else to add, DJ? Or is that kind of tied off?
If you have not watched it, go grab you a HBO Max subscription or steal one from your friend or something. Find some way to watch this show because I feel like you have to be on the train. At least watch it before the next season comes out because it is greenlit for a season 2. It hasn't been in production yet, but it has been greenlit. Some people were Bella Ramsey already confirmed to be reprising her role as Ellie in the next season. This is masterful. I mean, I know some people were waiting for the finale to binge it all the way through, but like folks like me, we waited every Sunday. Is one of the things I was looking forward to, and it's just so good. And it has left me speechless at times. I've cried. Just it fills you up with so much emotion and just Neil Druckmann like struck gold. Like he had the Midas touch when he wrote this fucking thing. Okay, when they made this fucking video game, they already struck gold, and they struck gold again, putting in Craig Mazin to help in with the writing and adapting it to television. All the choices they made were so smart, and it's so seamless. This is a perfect show. I don't care what you say; it's a perfect show.
All right, dude. Fuck yeah, man.
All right. Damn, this is DJ's top level thoughts. Ernell, what are your thoughts on season 1 of The Last of Us?
Yeah. Dude, DJ is 100% correct. This show is baffling at how good it is. Like, this is a fucking masterclass of art. Like, I cannot believe that we live in the year of our Lord 2023 and we deserve this. No, absolutely not. We don't deserve how good this fucking show is. Every single episode is an individual piece of fucking art that they just delivered us time and time and time again. And I waited for some episode to come up and I was like, for me to have some kind of reaction to every single one. Every single goddamn episode I came in. I don't think I've ever cried more to a TV show in my fucking life than I have to this fucking show. In the 9 episodes that we got of this fucking show, I cried for like 7 of them. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like every single episode had just the most heart-wrenching, beautiful, happy, just destructive moments that like this show is a journey on human emotion in ways that like The Walking Dead tried to do. And there's a lot of zombie content that tries to travel this distance that The Last of Us in this one season did what The Walking Dead tried to do for 8 seasons. You know what I mean? And there's just something to be said about the just class of artistry and beauty that came from this show. DJ's right. Neil Druckmann struck fucking gold again. Like how he manages to release The Last of Us 4 different fucking times and he nails it every single fucking time is beyond me, but he fucking did it, dude. This show is incredible. It's fucking incredible. I mean, like, hands down has to be one of the best shows I have ever fucking seen in my entire life. Easily has to be one of the best shows that I've ever been made for TV. Period. Point blank fucking period. This show is incredible.
Period.
Go ahead, DJ.
Dude, it broke records even during like the finale broke records even when the Oscars was happening at the same time. Like for the Super Bowl, they moved it to Friday, like the Friday before the Super Bowl. But they're like, well, the Oscars coming? Fuck it. We will outperform the Oscars. We're better than them.
Dude, and did you see the viewership million. Too when they did that? Their highest viewed episode was the episode they moved to Friday for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
17 million viewers. Can you fucking believe that? There's so many people that watched this fucking show and came in ready to fucking pop, dude. Like, and fucking willingly so.
That was a crazy episode too.
That was a wild episode, my guy. That was a wild episode.
That was a crazy episode as well.
But and that's the thing is every single episode of this show is just magnificent. I cannot express this enough. Like, if you have not watched the show, if you're not started the show, if you're not finished like we are, you need to be. You absolutely fucking need to be. There is no show in humanity that is like this one. There's some little tiny things that I'm sure that we can discuss that are, you know, I think mostly just little tiny gripes that I have as far as pacing is concerned when it comes to the relationship between Joel and Ellie and the difference in how that's portrayed in a show versus how it is portrayed in a video game. But 99% of everything else that has to do with the show, fucking magnificent. I cannot fucking expressed enough. You need to watch this damn show. I will say the little tiny things really just kind of revolve around Joel and Ellie's relationship and how that progresses throughout the story of the 9 episodes. Sometimes it can feel a little bit like would he really feel that way this quickly? But if you like kind of like suspend some disbelief here and just say like this is happening over the course of like 2 years. And like it's not going as quickly as we think it is, right? Like because it's episode by episode, it feels like it's just another week. Like they're traveling over the course of some time. It's like a year long that this season's
it's a year long like yeah.
And so like keeping that in mind, like 2 people surviving through the worst fucking experiences that they can possibly have. Because the show didn't show everything. If you played the game, you have a good idea of what they're probably fucking experienced out in the wild here. 2 people that are going through actual hell together are going to get this close together. And Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey have such a chemistry that by the time we got to the final episode and the giraffe scene happens, and I don't want to say any more than that, there's a moment where Pedro's just looking at Bella Ramsey, and I fucking shed a tear. And I was like, fuck, man, they did it, dude. They fucking did it. All the other episodes paid off. They fucking paid off, dude. I cannot believe it. And then my last little thought here, if episode 3 does not get you sold on this fucking show, you're heartless. You're a heartless fucking bastard. And you should just give up on watching television altogether because episode 3 is the best episode of television to have ever been made. Period. And you need to appreciate that. God damn, the show is perfect.
Neil Druckmann was right. That was the happy episode.
That was the happy episode. God damn, he was right. God damn. Garrick, what are your top level thoughts on? How do you feel?
First off, just wow. So I haven't played either of these games. Okay, that's not entirely true. I haven't finished either of them. And I didn't get very far in the first game. In The Last of Us Remastered, not part one, because they are different.
Yes.
I think I got about to episode 2
Sure.
in terms of like that's about I think where I ended up getting in the game. And then I just put it down just because like it was a mechanics thing for me. Like there was a couple of things with the game I was just like I didn't really like the way they approached. The story was great and I'm still really interested in it, and obviously I was interested in it enough to continue and want to watch the show. But fuck. I've never been so moved by a TV show before. Like I've never like you experience a lot of very, very real human emotions while watching this show. And each episode elicits the response it's trying to get. Like every time, like each episode has like a theme, like it has sort of like a key note or like that key human feature it's like latched onto, and then by the end of the episode it's really driven that home, and you feel that way with the characters. And I think that's what's so powerful about this show is like it is written in such a way that it really does envelop the viewer in like a sense that like you're going through all of this shit with them, which is amazing because that's exactly why people loved the game so much.
Yes.
And just wow, I ended up initially watching this basically on like I love post-apocalyptic. I'm a huge zombie fan, and if you're gonna go into this show thinking that you're gonna get The Walking Dead, you're not gonna get that. It has some high action moments, but I wouldn't call this an action show. This is a drama.
It's not
Like
even. It's not even a zombie show. Honestly, it's not.
No, it's post-apocalyptic,
Yeah.
and yeah, and like and they use a type of infected, and you can lump it into the zombie genre, and it does get lumped up there. But like this does definitely have its own take. Like this is very fresh. It's not your typical end of the world story, and when it does use those typical end of the world stories, those tropes, it uses them to maximum effect in ways that I have never seen other pieces of content do, which is why I think this is really, really so good and such a great and powerful piece of like television, because it takes common tropes that fit into this sort of piece of content and just breaks it down to just the most human fundamentals. Like it humanizes everything. Everything, which is what I think is my favorite thing about it, is like this show is not a black and white story. It literally lives in the gray from start to finish because it's human. And I think that's where it's really, really successful. I absolutely cannot wait for the second season. This was one of my favorite opening seasons, if not my favorite opening season to any television show ever. I have never been so compelled to make sure I am there every Sunday, to make sure I am watching every Sunday. I've got to be there for that next episode because I want to be part of that conversation. I want to be able to process that episode, and then I want to be able to watch it several more times and cry.
Yes, absolutely. Every single time. Every single time.
Right?
I maybe cried to episode 3.
How many times have you watched episode 3?
Oh, I cried to it like probably 4 times, dude.
Right? Like I've seen episode 3 at least 3 different times already.
Dude, at this point, every time a new episode comes out, I will literally like the next week, like before the next episode came out, I would watch people's reaction to that episode that would just watch.
Yep.
I would. That's what I would
put
do.
yourself
And
in the right. Yeah, I got to get in the headset for Tlu tonight, right?
Yep.
Like,
Yeah,
let's get ready to fucking feel some shit. And you do every single episode from start to finish. There was only one episode in the entire season that like off put me at all, and that's just because it was pivotally important, but so starkly slow where they ended up putting it in the season that it jostled me personally a lot. And but that was the one and only episode, and the episode still was so fucking good.
Was it?
It just felt a little just the left behind.
The left behind, yeah, I kind of
Left
thought so.
Behind,
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and like the episode, which was in like I loved the episode, like, and it's good, and you can tell why it's important because that episode is so important to the finale, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right, like it's so important to the finale, but like it just. I understand why it needed to go there because it filled in a lapse of time that would have been very difficult for them to fill in without extra episodes. And so this was their approach, and it worked. But it felt a little disjointed in its pacing and story approach compared to the rest of the season for me. But aside from that, and like even that, it didn't mar anything. Like I'm still gonna I am so fucking ready to rewatch this show with my wife because she was
gonna have a blast.
Dude, she was an avid Walking Dead fan, like all the way up until Carl
She's
died.
about to have her world rocked.
Right, and I was like, this is gonna be so much better of an experience. And like I haven't told her anything. Like I just like watch this. It's like she'll come down when me and Storm were watching it on Sunday nights, and I'm just sitting there like I pause the episode, just fucking. Are you okay? I'm fine.
Well, and you're
upstairs so I can press play.
You're right on the dot too, because as someone who has been a dedicated Walking Dead fan to the very bitter end, I just recently finally got the chance to watch the finale. This like I said before, this show is everything The Walking Dead wishes it could have been. Period.
Yeah.
Like this does Walking Dead better than The Walking Dead ever fucking could have been. This is some level of elevated like kiss from God that like we could not have like ever been prepared for. DJ, what's up?
I think The Walking Dead could have been as good as The Last of Us if they took a second to look at our ads.
This piece of good Kraken content is brought to you by Glide mouse pads. The world is changing, and the demand for PC gaming and work from home setups has never been as wild as it is right now. Having the best of the best in PC accessories only makes it easier to get your work done before you jump right back in to the fray of the digital sea. And Glide knows exactly how to make that happen for you. Glide mouse pads is the future industry leader in mouse pads, offering beautiful, smooth, waterproof products made with eco-friendly materials and non-slip rubber in a variety of sizes that are guaranteed to help you get that next win. I've got one of these bad boys in my office at work. I've got one here at my desk right now. Devin's got one. Xander's got one. This bad boy is silky smooth, silkier and smoothier than even the silkiest of smoothies or soy milk or what have you. You can go to glidemousepads.com right now and use code Kraken for 15% off the Founders Edition mousepad in every size available. Again, that's code KRAKEN Kraken for 15% off any Founders Edition mousepad today. Our next sponsor is Rogue Energy. Late nights are pretty much commonplace for all content creators, and anyone here at GK can attest that late nights are kind of our only nights. Luckily for us, though, Rogue has figured out exactly how to give those late nights and even earlier mornings the supercharge that we all need. Rogue Energy is a low-calorie, no-sugar energy formula that is the perfect alternative to sugar-filled canned energy drinks and sodas. Every formula Rogue Energy produces is designed with optimal levels of high-quality ingredients and no chalky textures. Again, we don't want that. We don't want that. Being the only gaming drink company in the world with 4 unique product lines to suit your task at hand, Rogue Energy strives to improve the in-game performance of gamers, streamers, and content creators around the world. Now, I know that we've been riding this train for a long time. You might be tired of us talking about this. You might not be tired of us. You might want to just support us anyways. And you know what? For those that do support us, we love you. But the best way to support us right now is to grab yourself a big old cup of Joe. When I say Joe, I mean this Rogue Energy stuff. I'm usually waking up first thing in the morning with a big old shit to get a big old shit going. Oh, wow. You grab your Rogue Energy cup. Okay, you dip that bad, you just scoop that bad boy right on there. You give that bad boy shaky dakey, you know what I'm saying? And then you're out the dang door. Okay, you need this beverage in your life. I cannot express that enough. You can head on over to rogueenergy.com and use code GKRAKEN for 10% off any purchase of shaker or formula tub of your choosing. That's GKRAKEN for 10% off any shaker or formula tub that you would like. Now, back to the episode.
Welcome back to the episode.
Welcome. Come.
We are reviewing The Last of Us Season 1. And you know what? We've given our top level thoughts. We've discussed some fun facts. But we have a couple of different perspectives that we all got to kind of look at the show from. And one thing that I kind of wanted to ask about, which we will, of course, be keeping spoiler free. So this might be a little bit of a hard question for you, Ernell. But sure. I would like you, if you could, how do you think they handled the changes they made from the game versus the show?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think they handled the changes with a lot of grace. I know that's something we talked about before with things like book to movie adaptations, that we understand that there is a level of information that is not needed in different mediums. And television / movies is one of those mediums that you have to kind of trim some fat. And in this case, there were some changes, not just to extra story, extra lore, things like that, but just generally to little things like the zombies, quote unquote, just for lack of better terminology here, the cordyceps, I guess you could say. The changes there, as far as like the spores are now instead of spores, they have tendrils. I think was a very, very clever way to do that, because that is something that they could use in the future in, say, The Last of Us Part 3. That could be something that they use later on, which would actually be extremely dope, because that idea itself was horrifying. I mean, like, I honestly 100% felt like the tendrils idea of, oh, like the fungi are all connected and they can sense you're there and send other cordyceps to come after you if they sense that you're there, is way more horrifying than the spores. Because the spore situation, they're just wearing gas masks for a majority of the game. And so, like, anywhere that has spores, they just put on gas masks. Oh, problem solved. Like, as long as my gas mask isn't broken, we're good to go. And then that's kind of it. And so I think to sort of up the ante, to raise the stakes a little bit, the tendrils was a very, very clever choice in that design. The choices in some storyline, I think, were necessary sins in order for the story to make sense the way that it did. There's also some stuff that people think are changes that are actually just deeper levels of lore that were not explained in the story. So things like the virus being spread through flour is something that they don't talk about in the game, that they do talk about in the show. I mean, they mention it in the game, but it's not really talked about in the game the way that they do it in the show. Backstories between... What was that?
Episode 3. Like that relationship between Bill and Frank.
Yes, that was
specified.
That was most definitely a change, especially the ending result of that was definitely a change in how that goes about. But the cool thing, the thing that I felt was the coolest about this show, is that you were able to sort of plug in what Neil Druckmann had put into this story with the help of Craig, and used it to sort of lore build what we knew from the game. So even though there were changes, there were still gaps in the game that aren't explained as backstory. So backstory with Bill and Frank, backstory with Sam and Henry, backstory between Joel and Sarah, backstory between Tommy and Joel. Like there's lots of backstory between individual character relationships that are in the show that they never talk about in the games. And because it's now present in the show, and Neil Druckmann himself is sort of steering that ship in that direction, it's canon. And so you can canonize that in your head and say, okay, well, even though these are different changes, these are different than what I experienced in the game, so to speak, everything else besides that change specifically, so episode 3's end result is very drastically different from the video game, where in the game, and I'm sorry, I'm going to spoil the game, I'm not going to spoil the show, but in the game, because if you haven't played it after fucking a decade, you're fucking up. In the game, the difference is that Frank leaves, and that end result there doesn't happen in the same sweet, beautiful way that episode 3 does in the show, where everything else that leads up to that in episode 3, none of that's explained at all in the game. So you can just say, oh, right. Shit. So everything that happens in this episode leading up to what I experienced with Bill in the video game can all just be canon in my own head. And that was something that was very beautiful in my own opinion about the show, in a sense of like this show did things for people that have played the game and for people that have not played the game, that have a solo experience with the Last of Us storyline. And the changes were a necessary sin in order for this story to serve both parties in that sense. And I don't think that there was any clean, perfect way they could have done what they did without either bloating the story too much and making things convoluted, or not fan servicing enough. And if there's anything this show does well, it is fan servicing. And if you don't feel
fan servicing
with such fucking grace, and if you don't feel that the show wasn't fan servicing, you probably aren't a fan. I'm sorry, and I wish it wasn't fucking so, I guess, because I've seen a good handful of people that are like, oh my god, this show's atrocious, and I'm like, did you not play the fucking game? Because the show is not that different from the game. It's not, and I'm not talking about the story.
They just don't like the story. That's
exactly.
Yeah, just say you don't like the story.
Beautiful story.
It's the same experience that you get out of the game. The only difference is that there's not just a bunch of fucking zombies chasing people. And if you want that, go watch.
There's substance.
Yeah, because you struggled on a level where you couldn't get out because you suck, doesn't mean we have to dredge through a TV show full of that.
Well, I'm sorry. Okay? I'm sorry that there's so many and this is the thing that disappoints me about zombie content fans a lot of times, right? They're not in it because the stories behind surviving a zombie apocalypse are interesting. They're in it because they have this weird fucking gore fantasy about watching people get slaughtered by zombies and having to survive that. Both in and of their own are interesting. One of those things is not as interesting as the other. And so
Correct.
These people that are just highly disappointed by the show strictly because it didn't have enough zombies I cannot believe
not even
that
a
there's
zombie
people
story.
this fucking dense. It's not a zombie story. The story of The Last of Us was never a zombie story. It was a story about survivors that just so happened to have an obstacle in front of them. And that obstacle was zombies and other people. That's what The Last of Us was about.
If it was about zombies, dude, they wouldn't make it past 20 years of people just surviving. Dude, what are you talking about? Then we would start from ground zero, like just how The Walking Dead fucking did. Dude, fucking this is where we're at, and then we're gonna
those motherfuckers literally started over. These guys were at least they were to make pact work. This was a an apocalyptic event. It was a pandemic.
Who would have thought, right? Yeah, I know.
Wild,
dude.
Right? And it impacted the entire world. And the fucking title should tell you that this is like a perfect example, and I'm gonna use another zombie video game, one that came out last year, Dying Light 2. That title paints a picture. You're like, that is not a human story. It's about fucking scary Dying Light zombie shit.
Yeah.
The Last of Us literally tells you in the title that this is going to be a tale about the survivors, not the zombies. Like, this is about the individual. This is an individual tale. So I'm really I'm really grateful to hear that it sounds like they found a pretty good balance between with those changes and did it with some grace. DJ, I noticed you had your hand up a little bit ago. Do you still have that comment?
Fuck. I lost. I think it was Ernell was talking about something, and I had a comment about it. Okay. Yeah. So the game in and of itself is fucking brutal. Like the way you kill motherfuckers in that game, it's brutal. Well, it is fucking insane. And I'm glad. I want to say I'm glad the show doesn't hold back from that brutality, because you see it in some of these episodes where you're like, oh, that's fucked up shit. Like I died fucked up.
I mean, one of the interesting things that happened in my experience of the show too is the Sam and Henry storyline. I, for a moment there, did not think they were going to do it. The final moments of the Sam and Henry story arc, I did not think they were going to do that, because everything leading up to Sam and Henry's finale of their character arc with Joel and Ellie is completely different from the game. Like completely different. They actually mash up two separate different sections of the video game together, Kansas City and Pittsburgh, and they put them into one sort of like individual storyline here for us to experience in, you know, an episode and a half basically. And I was like, there's no way they're gonna fucking give us the ending that they do from the video game, because that's a fucked up ending. It's a super fucked up ending, and they did it. And I was like, oh shit. And I didn't realize until they get to the hotel, and I was like, oh no. And I'm like looking at my girlfriend like, oh God, she's gonna see that.
You see, you're like, oh, this nuke is about to drop. Emotional nuke is about to drop. Dude.
Yes.
Yeah, that
shit was about to be crazy.
Which is what's really great about the show. Because like we've mentioned it a couple times. We've all mentioned like how human this show is. And that's not always fucking pretty. And they do a really good job showing the depravity of humankind, of which there is limitless fucking potential. And they show that in a lot of different ways, in a lot of different moments. Through through characters and stuff that you don't think would expect to make those sorts of choices or be those sorts of people, or no.
So to kind of wrap up my thoughts on this too, to sort of in reply to what DJ is saying as far as the story of The Last of Us being so brutal, it's interesting too, because the first game is more of a story about the relationship of Joel and Ellie. Right. And that's like it's about grief. It's about loss. It's about living with your grief and how to come to terms with that. And then it is about making a decision based on that grief. Right. And we see that in the final episode, which I'm sure we will kind of loosely talk about here in a bit. But the final episode is very much a wrapping up of this. You know, these characters have been grieving for a long time. What choices will they make based on that grief? The interesting part is that The Last of Us Part 2 is the one that is about revenge and violence and and how you will act out of rage because of loss. So my point in being, this isn't even the most brutal of things are going to get, because The Last of Us Part 2 is infinitely more fucked up than The Last of Us Part 1. And I hope you guys, if you weren't ready for this first season of The Last of Us, emotionally speaking, you're not going to be ready for Part 2, let alone Season 2, generally speaking.
And I do like to say, before, for those who never played the game and have only watched this first season, I would like to remind you that Last of Us isn't a Joel and Ellie story. It is just Ellie. Ellie is the main character.
Yes.
Before we get into season 2, because I know what happens because I
Yes.
didn't care for playing the second part.
No, for
But
sure. And I mean, and
yeah,
I think they perfectly predispose that as we kind of move into the finale of this season, right? Which I guess we can
mhm.
probably talk about here. And I suppose, I'm sure if Garrett did not have the question here, I have the question. Without any spoilers, are you guys pro Joel or not pro Joel in the sense of the decision that was made in the finale?
Excellent. I'm really glad that you had that. I was gonna ask
It's
this fucking
perfect.
question.
I like it. I'm on the same wavelength, baby.
Yeah.
So, let's go through it. Garrick, what do you think?
Hell yeah. I personally, yeah, I'm pro Joel. I believe that given the circumstances of the world that they live in, from the perspective that the world doesn't give a shit about them, why in the fuck should they give a shit about the world knowing that they only have that, knowing for a fact that they do have themselves right here, right now, and that is within their control 100%.
Yes.
That'd be the call I'd make.
Okay.
Mm.
I like it.
Okay.
DJ, what about you?
So when we're answering this question, are we putting ourselves within Joel, or are we just like what we're observing from Joel's decision?
I mean, I
Like,
guess
okay,
that is the substance of the question, right? Like, do you take the side of Joel and sit yourself in his shoes, or do you look at this from a worldly perspective of he should have made a different choice?
knowing what I know, he didn't have to do that one thing he did.
Yeah,
You know, you know,
probably didn't need to do that, but like,
you do that
The
thing.
overarching choice, yes. How he enacted that choice,
a little rough around the edges, but
yeah, a little
Yeah.
impulsive.
Yeah, well, it was just the one
one.
person, that guy. We won't get too much into that guy was pretty important, but
yeah, yeah.
But I would say even though I'm not a father, or I don't have anyone that I take care of personally like that, I think I would, if I was putting myself in Joel's shoes, I would probably make the same decision, but I would think about it a lot more. And in that case, he probably didn't have time to think about it.
He didn't,
But
he
I would
did
think
not,
about
yeah.
it a lot. I'd weigh my options a ton. Because of, if I was spending my time with someone that I've for a whole year, and that has become my new purpose of living, I would do anything that I can to protect that. I wouldn't care, because I would at that point in the world, we're 20 years out from the initial like pandemic outbreak. At this point, you just got to live with what is there. Like, even if you did let it go through, what happens next is so unknown, and there's no way you get back to 20 years ago. There's no way.
Yeah.
And
It's literally impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's to say that choice could be distributed across the world, and it would take an even equal amount of time, even more so, to like bring it back to something at least like semi decent or semi close to what it was. And even then, that's not a guarantee. So I would still be like, yeah, it's more like a 90-10 split. Like, yeah, but I still think about the 10%.
Yeah, yeah. See,
Sure.
dude, the thing is, I was like, you mentioned how like, you would have like weighed out your choices to the best of your ability. I bet
Mhm.
I probably would have, with the exception of I think one, maybe two things. I think I probably would have enacted almost the same way. Like,
Oh yeah, no, those like you
up
have
in
to.
two things.
There's
I
no
think
way
I would
you
have done
can't.
two things differently.
Yeah. I love that we're asking this question. So I want to make this very clear for anyone that has watched the show and has not played the game, maybe even for some people that have played the game. Joel is the bad guy. I hope that is understood wildly
He's
across
not a good guy.
everybody.
He's not a good guy, but yeah, he's not a good guy. I wouldn't say he's a bad guy.
I'm not by any means.
Understandably,
I'm not saying he's the antagonist of the story. He's not. But he's not. He is the bad guy of this entire situation. Like that needs to be understood. Like he was never the good guy in any of the story. Like if you think about how he picks up Ellie, how he gets crossed into that entirely, how he has to handle things in order to survive out in the wild, how he's had to handle himself for the past 20 years, the decision he makes leading up to the whole finale of the episode, the decision he has to make with Ellie after the episode. Joel's not the good guy. He's not.
Yeah, it's not a hero's welcome for him.
Correct.
No,
I wanted to preface with that statement. What I will also now say is that, as Garrick mentioned earlier, this entire story sits in this moral gray area. And that's why the story of The Last of Us is so intriguing and beautifully done, because everything is ambiguous. Like, nobody's right or wrong in these stories. Everyone's literally just trying to survive, except for David. Fuck David.
Fuck David.
Fuck David.
Honestly,
that
just
guy's
about
gross.
everybody else in that show, you could justify their actions one way or another.
100%. 100%.
That guy, whoever acts as that guy, dude.
Oh my
killed that fucking
God.
dude. I hate him. Every time I see that man's face, dude.
Yo,
I hate
David.
him.
Fuck you. Like out in public.
He's just like having a coffee. He's just like
His
chilling.
character was pretty fucking triggering for me. Did not like.
Dude, he did a good job too, because David in the game is fucking skeezy shit. And they did such a good job of making this David in the show feel
Like, even
skeezy,
creepier,
but he's like low key skeezy, where it doesn't come in right away. It like builds in, and then the thing happens, and you're like, oh, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. You're gross, man. Anyways, I wanted to preface with that because I personally would have also done what Joel did myself too. Not just as a father, that's mostly my fuel behind it, because I would be fucking damned if they tried to do to Ellie what they tried to do to my daughter what they tried to do to Ellie without any of the I don't know, fucking bodily autonomy that that the world used to have in this universe. I don't know why the fuck they were like, oh well, we just let it happen. She's not afraid or anything. It's like, did you ask her? Did you fucking ask? Because that part just slid right over your guys' fucking heads.
Dude, yeah.
But I think actually the best point that I heard, and it's shocking after all these years, that the best take that I had was actually from Marilyn. She was like, there's just no way to know. Like, even if like DJ was saying, like, even if they do go through with it, you don't know what the end result's going to be. There's no promise there. So Joel took the route of the promise. Ellie will be here.
100%. Yeah. And he chose to control what he could. Save who you can save.
Now, granted, I understand too, Joel spends a majority of this fucking story tying himself in cognitive knots the entire fucking time. He has no clue what the fuck he's doing. But
no. Mental gymnastics for this fucking guy from start to finish.
All fucking day long. But
yeah, and none of us would know either. I think that's why it's so beautiful, because like you can
Exactly.
replace yourself with Joel and be like,
exactly.
I don't know what to do either. I wouldn't even make it this far. I'd kill myself.
Yeah, you're
when
like,
the
fuck his
outbreak
whole
started.
bud, right?
What would you do? Nothing.
Nothing. I ain't here. I'm gone.
Yes.
So Garrick
I ate bread that morning and I'm gone. So
Garrick, final question, my friend, and I think we can tie things off here.
Absolutely. I really just had one small question. This one be one we can kind of breeze through real quickly here. Keeping it spoiler free, of course. Just real quickly, spout off what your favorite episode was.
Three, hands down. Hands fucking down. No questions asked. Now, every single other episode of the season is like this fucking, just a fucking pubic hair away from being just as much of a favorite. But episode 3 is
Okay.
oh my God. They could have
Okay,
made a
so
movie.
I
we all
think
know
I
that
think we're
episode
all
3 is-
going to unanimously pick 3 as the best episode. So for the sake of having a conversation,
Unanimous! Unanimous!
It's,
Episode 3
okay.
is the best episode of the season. It really just is. But what was your second
episode of
favorite
television.
episode?
Yeah, it was the second favorite.
I'm going to say Left Behind.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm going to see Left Behind because I like that it was so dauntingly placed in this section of oh shit, like that's happening in the story, because they use it as like a flashback to sort of explain Ellie's gonna have to do something that her survival mechanics are gonna have to kick in, and this is where that survival mechanic comes from. Right? This is not her first time handling loss. And Left Behind is a perfect culmination of displaying to us humanity in the midst of something horrible that can happen to you and still having to live through that to find yourself on the other side of that happening. Left Behind is obviously another beautiful centerpiece of the human relationship, but I also think that its displacement in the story was in its benefit more than it was to its detriment. I think that it was very purposeful, and because of such, it actually gave it more ante to sort of explain Ellie and her backstory and why she is the way that she is. And it also perfectly fit where it was as a placeholder for the DLC to the game. There was no other way they were going to be able to fit the DLC from the game besides it being a flashback that Ellie is experiencing in a moment of, fuck, I have to make a decision. Because if you guys remember, she's going for the door
at the same
handle.
time,
And she stops, and then she's remembering this happening. And then at the end of all that happening, she opens the door and continues on, right? And so it's her having this moment right in the midst of like, fuck, I don't know what to do. And remembering another time in which she did not know what to do. And now it takes us back to this current moment where she says, I'm not going to be that again. I'm not going to be helpless again. Never again am I going to allow myself to feel the way that I did back then when I lost the last person that I loved. I'm not letting it happen again. And fucking how beautiful is that? You know what I mean? Yes, Left Behind's my answer.
Hell yeah. Good answer. Good answer. DJ?
I think episode 5, Endure and Survive.
Good
that
episode. Good episode.
That is it. If you had, besides episode 3, if you had to give someone like a snippet or like just one episode for them to watch from the show to get them hooked, that is that episode, I think, for me. Because it has everything you want. Everything that everyone wanted from the show.
Yes.
You have that, you have the Sam and Henry, and then like you have that group in the Kansas City that's hunting you down. There's the infected at the end, and then the brutal human interaction at the end that kind of seals up that whole episode, and it makes you realize like, yeah, it's gonna be fucked up because there are no rules. There's no, the conventions of regular society that we have are out the window. It's been out the window for 20 years. So, and like seeing some of this shit, like in episode 5, we had the crater, right? And then you see the swarm come in of infected. You see them grab this one guy. This is stuck in my mind. You see them like 4 of them grab this one dude. It's just an extra, and he has his assault rifle like right here, and he's screaming, and then he pulls the trigger because he doesn't want to get infected. That shit was crazy to me.
Yeah.
And then like there's some other brutal scenes.
Great
in that,
background
but, like,
detail, by the way. Like,
yeah,
it's
mixed
like,
in with
very much.
that
the
would
whole
be the
chaotic
human
thing.
call.
Yeah, and You know, because like I was shocked because like it keeps it human. The show keeps it so human, to that point, to that T. Um, but I see, yeah, Endure and Survive is probably the second best episode, next to episode 3. If I
Dude,
had to
the
choose.
fucking moment where
Hell yeah.
she writes "I'm so sorry" on the board. Fuck me, man.
Mm.
Fuck me, dude. When
I don't know if she wrote that. Did she write that, or did Sam
she
write
wrote it. Yeah, she picks it up, she writes it, and then puts it down on his
Okay.
thing.
Because like, either
Mhm.
way, it's sad. Either
Yeah,
way.
I was like, "Fuck me, dude!
Yeah,
Like,
God
I can't
damn.
handle this shit after what we just saw. Jesus Christ, dude." Anyways, Garrick, what about you? What's your second favorite episode?
Damn, hard to pick actually, but I do think I actually really liked episode 2, Infected.
Oh, interesting. I
Yeah,
liked it.
I
Okay.
really liked this. Like, I loved all the episodes, all of them.
That was
but I
my
felt
second
like,
choice.
yeah, this episode was the perfect springboard for like the trajectory of like this is not going to go as planned. Like everything that they think they're going to go through and the plan that they're going to work through to get from point A to point B, fuck all that. Toss it out the window, throw it in the garbage, light it on fire, explode it, disintegrate it, you toss it out because it's done. Because this shit goes so fucking hard left, so
Yeah.
fast,
Yeah.
and it sets the pace for the remainder of the show, in all of its tragedy. Like I felt like episode 1 was truly it was like that necessary, we got to set things up episode, right? Like
Yes.
it just feels like that strong, but it was foundationally good. But the way they established this with, once again, doing once again another flashback, right?
A cold open.
Giving
Yeah,
it
that cold
like
open.
that cold open fucked me up. Like damn, that cold open really hits hard, especially after the cold open of the first episode. Like wow. And like it was a great follow-up. And I really enjoyed the finale of this episode, like the peak of the climax of this episode, because I found myself really liking Tess as a character,
Dude, Anna
And so I
Torv
was
from Fringe and Mindhunter, you fucking kidding me? She's
fucking
slayed a test.
slayed it.
Kills
Oh
it.
my
Dude,
god,
loves
dude.
Anna Torv. Yeah, because I am a fan of her from Fringe, which I actually talk about on our shows that shouldn't have been canceled episode.
Yes, which you can watch on
So-
youtube.com/Good Kraken Show.
Yeah, you motherfucking can.
There you go. There you go,
With
baby.
an
I got you,
exclamation
I
point.
got you.
But yeah, this was just a perfect springboard episode, and it established everything to come in its severity so well. And also, clickers are fucking terrifying, man.
Scary, bro.
Holy shit.
Goddamn. What a show, dude. What a show, gentlemen. You know what I'm saying?
What a fucking
Yeah.
show.
So our last
yeah.
our last thoughts here, ratings, and should people watch it, yeah?
Yeah. So,
All right.
DJ, should the people at home watch this show and your official rating?
Dude, if you don't watch this fucking show, there's something wrong with
I'm
you.
gonna fucking get you.
I'm
That's what's
sorry.
gonna happen. I'm gonna fucking
Yeah,
get you.
dude. Okay, and I don't want to be mean about that, actually, because this is genuinely one of the best show I have seen. Like, not just video game adaptation. It is the best show. Writing, cinematography, the acting, dialogue, everything about it. And even if you played the games, like the fan service, right? Everything about it is so solid and so sound, and you're so immersed into this story. It's just like you're in the fucking writing room with Neil Druckmann and Craig Mazin together as they're fucking pitching this to you, and you're just eating that shit up, right? They're serving it on a hot fucking plate, and it is delicious. It is the best food you'll ever taste in your fucking life, and you will remember it to the day you fucking die.
Absolutely, dude.
This gets a fucking 10. It doesn't go lower. Even at its worst, it is the best show. Hear me again. Even at its worst, it is better than any show that you will ever watch. Point blank,
Hell
period.
yeah.
Goddamn.
Hell yeah. Or now.
So I want to point out my boo in chat. Clickers are Aquariuses, and I won't explain any further. But also says, and this is 100% true. Y'all, I fucking hate with a capital 8 zombies. But this show, it's so good. So Marilyn actually absolutely cannot fucking sit through any zombie content. Cannot.
Dude, snoozer.
But this show was like,
dude, I love zombie
it.
content.
Was it? No, I know, and me too, 100%. I was like, damn, what a bummer. Like, well, okay, we'll
I
try.
know what I'm getting.
And so I told her, I was like, let's watch the first episode, and if you're not sold by the end of the first episode, I'll finish it on my own. Not a huge deal, not a bummer. Okay, cool. We did it, and we were sold. I was just fucking grace all the way through.
Episode is one of the best foundational episodes. Period. Like nothing will hook you even more.
100%.
Thank God they weren't hampered by runtime.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
because usually with shows, it's like, oh, wait till the third episode, which is true with this one. But literally, it's like the third episode is the kind of you have to watch 3 to get in. But if you just watch the first episode and you're hooked, you will be hooked.
Yes, 100%, 100%. So with that said, and I look forward to Sundays and want to play it now, even though I'll be shitting my pants. We'll play it, babe. I'll play it with you. It's okay. So with that said, yes, if you have not watched the show yet, it would behoove you to do so. I feel like my life is better lived now that I have experienced this fucking television show. And we are not exaggerating here in the sense that this show will blow your fucking mind. It is compelling. It is heartfelt. It is beautiful. It is everything that you could possibly want out of a good narrative, out of a good story, out of a good tale about humans trying to fucking survive. There's everything you could possibly want out of a good story. Absolutely, you need to watch the show. This is the most 10 out of 10 I could possibly fucking give somebody. And any piece of fucking content, this is the highest of high 10s I could possibly fucking give. Yes, watch this goddamn show. Garrick, go.
Dude, you're a fucking fool. Did you doesn't want to be mean about it? I fucking will. You're a fucking fool if you haven't watched this show.
Goddamn.
Please, I beg you. This is me. I'm literally going to get on my knees.
He's on his knees.
Let's go.
The Last of Us. Please, at the very least, do yourself the cinematic favor of tuning into the first season before the second season airs. You do not want to miss this. I literally want to go watch this again. I already want to go watch this again.
Find someone who hasn't watched it
going to go watch it, right? Because I know I'm never gonna get that. It's I wish I could replay this for the first time. I wish I could watch this. So it's going to be my job to bring everybody around me that hasn't seen this into my living room, so I can live vicariously through them over and over and over again until everybody in my life has seen this show. This is a 10 out of 10.
Unanimous. Gentlemen, what a fucking show, boys. God damn, it feels good.
Yeah, I loved it. Loved it. And even with my one little complaint about some pacing, it doesn't make it not a 10 out of 10.
Period.
It is still period. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so good.
Even if it's worse, it is the best.
It's real.
100%. Even with the moments, it's still so good. It makes up for all of it.
Its version of is like a 9.5 still. You're like,
yeah, 100%, dude. Jesus Christ, man.
There are some lines in this that as soon as they're delivered, you are about to ball, dude.
Oh, dude.
There's some some lines. Oh
The
my
save
god!
who you can save thing will stick with me for literally forever. Like
Which
that was one of
Which
those
one?
save who you can save.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I really, dude, I'm all about fucking team motherfucking Tess over here. Yeah, there were some powerful quotes in this show,
Oh,
DJ.
dog,
Like for real,
you don't
like,
know what
some things to
loss
stick
is.
around.
That fucking
Like, it's
moment,
just-
man. That moment they did almost completely line for line from the video game. That moment between Ellie and Joel. You don't know what loss is. Oh my
Mhm.
god. The only thing he didn't say is you're treading on mighty thin water here. Like, or mighty thin ice. Yeah, like it's oh my god, they fucking nail it with the dialogue in the show.
Oh,
Watch this fucking show.
yeah.
Watch this goddamn show. Watch this goddamn show.
Well, this has been our review of The Last of Us Season 1. And before we capstone off our evening here, we're going to tell you what we have coming up for the rest of the week while we check out our schedule. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. West Coast, Best Coast time, we have another episode of DJ's Doubloons, where he is playing Guilty Gear Strive tomorrow.
Hell
Hell
yeah.
yeah, man. I
my
don't think
my first
we don't.
foray into a 2D fighter in a while, man. It's
Excellent. We don't play a lot of fighters on here, so I think this should get to
Yeah, it'd be cool
that'll
to
be
just learn the
refreshing.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When DJ mentioned it, I was like,
downloading
you know
it the
what?
whole time.
I like that. That's a good idea. That's a good idea.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Fuck yeah, man.
And on Thursday, also 7 p.m., we are having yet another episode of the Shipwreck Show that will be hosted and recorded live right here on twitch.tv. But we're doing things a little bit differently that night. That is our sub-only chat where you can come in, participate, be a part of the show, and where we BS all sorts of fun things and answer listener questions from y'all at home. Friday, we have another splash damage, and I'm pretty stoked for this one because we are going to be playing Valheim. Also, Valheim is a 10-player game. You can have 10 people in a world. So let's fill that bad boy up. Let's get some people on Valheim.
Do
this Friday.
I need to play for like a little bit before I like dive in on Friday? Should I play this for a while?
You might want to.
You might want to, but I've played a little bit, so I could direct like the first hour or two of the game.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they've expanded since then, and it is.
But
a
it's
lot
also
more
one of
to
those games that it's kind of funny to watch people flounder.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it's a survival game. But anyway, so we're gonna be playing some Valheim.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a great game. And then on Saturday at 12 p.m. West Coast, Best Coast time, we have another episode of the Good Kraken podcast, and we will be discussing the topic of can The Last of Us save game 2 film adaptations? All right, y'all, please. But yeah, I think it's already done it, but we're going to have a deeper conversation of it on Saturday, right? So please let us know at home how you all feel about The Last of Us Season 1 in the comments below of our video. Please, let's have a conversation around this masterful television show as we are all looking forward to Season 2, because this has been the Good Kraken podcast, your choice for all the nerdy video game and pop media news, reviews, and discussions that you wanted to hear live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and Saturday at 12 p.m. right here at twitch.tv/Good Kraken Show. If you enjoyed the show, you can head over to our Discord channel where you can submit questions and topics to the show, get exclusive posto content, and have early access to episodes before they go live on podcast and video services across the digital sea.
Yeah. Post content.
You can also support us by going to our YouTube channel, clicking that beautiful bell and big red button, or by subscribing to our podcast channel by searching Good Kraken with an exclamation point and leaving a review there. 5 stars only. But until next time, y'all, be sure to save who you can save.
Goddamn. What a show.
But all right.